with Coach Dave Miller, and we are more or less on the field here at Roush Stadium today. Different view.
Yeah.
Let's talk a little bit about the Springboro game. Can you describe the kickoff return touchdown, how it developed that led to Cameron Pay to go 86 yards to start the game?
Well, that was a nice way to start the game for sure. Not exactly as designed. We had a different kind of return, and I think he just saw a seam and got in and broke a couple tackles. So he did a nice job, Cameron, just vision-wise, finding a place and going to it. And he's a good athlete, so he just, after he broke those couple tackles, it's tough to catch him. So, but like I said, great way to start the game. We were off and rolling at that point, obviously, but so that was good.
In a game which you dominated time of possession, 45 minutes to 15 minutes, what were some keys that resulted in Springboro overcoming a 13-0 halftime deficit?
Well, we played a really solid first half. Of course, they get the ball coming out of halftime. I think our kickoff coverage kind of let them back in the game. Really at that point we were dominating. I think, especially over on defense. I think they only had like 20 yards in the first half, and that's a good offense. They're really explosive. So we gave them great field position to start the second half. We have a third down and long, and kind of a questionable call there. It looked like a trap to me. That's not the way they saw it. So they get a first down. We have a couple breakdowns there on defense, just individuals, a guy getting trapped, a guy getting reached, a linebacker jumping inside. We made them work. That's kind of part of our deal on defense. But and then our response, on offense, we go out and go 3 and out, and had a pretty good punt. Made some mistakes. We had another third and long, and this is kind of going back to Northmont the week before, how we started the game. We've not played a full half yet, really, when you think about it. Other than Trotwood, we had, I thought we put together two good halves of football there, but in all of our other games, we've kind of struggled to maintain our focus, and I don't know if we were focused as much as we should have been coming out of halftime, obviously, and they were. So turned into a ball game, obviously. We end up going 3 and out again. They get the ball back, score. It's now 8-point deficit. And then we got our act together on offense, went down, had that last drive, and we're down 8, so we're thinking, I don't want to give them any time. We're having trouble stopping them. So we took pretty much 10 minutes off the clock. We knew we were going for 2, had the play already selected, and we scored, and we just fell a little short. We didn't convert on the 2-point conversion. We didn't execute. But looking back on it, we feel like we should have never been in that situation after starting the game 13-0. But credit to them, they're really well coached. That's a good team. They're really good. I mean, when you lose to Elder by 1 point, and honestly should have beat them. When you start looking at the film, it's like they had them. So we're playing elite competition, and we talked about that with our kids. And if we can just put together a full game of football, we could be pretty good. So.
The incompletion on a potential tying 2-point conversion, which you alluded to in a minute.
Right.
What is the play that you drew up, and did you consider a straight Drew Baker handoff?
Yeah, those are things that if I hand it off to him, he falls, a yard short, which, okay, everybody in the world knows he's going to get the ball. So we practice that play. We practice it every week. And there was no question midway through the drive, I'm on the phones with our coaches, and we knew that's what we were going with. We faked to Drew. No, we didn't really fake to Drew is the problem. We showed pass. A linebacker saw it. He read his keys. He went back, got in the passing lane. Kind of a questionable call. Again, I don't blame officials. I never do. It's a tough job. And those guys are great. Greg Strickland's a great official, and their crew did a great job. And I think the sideline guy got run into by one of our camera people, which is not good, but photographer. And it wasn't Gene. Gene's great, but so he missed the call. It comes down to a 2-point play, and do I regret the call? Absolutely not. I think it was there. If we executed it, he'd have been wide open. So, but there's other things we can do there too, and we're going to keep working on them, and, just is what it is.
One area you had to be pleased with was no turnovers and only 2 penalties. So would you consider it a disciplined performance?
Yeah, I think so. The problem is you look at our drives, we had 6 possessions, really 7 at the end of the first half, if you want to count that, but we were good. As far as us being up 13-0, I felt pretty good about that. And we were down on the 20, we could have hurried up. But I've been burned on that. You got a good offense you're messing with there. You hurry up, and then all of a sudden give them the game or give them the ball back, and things could turn in a hurry. So the way they play offense, you saw it in the second half. You got to manage the clock. But yeah, we had really 6 drives, and 3 of them were very productive. We moved the ball, especially that last one, but the other ones led to field goals. But we had 3 3-and-outs. So. We're inconsistent right now. We need to do a lot better job with consistency and focus, and we have the potential to be really good. Like I said, we're playing elite competition. This conference is a bear. Every week you got to strap it up and go. So that's good. We're in a good place though. So.
Okay, and on to Springfield. And to state the obvious, it does not get any easier. Going to Springfield, your impressions on the transfer quarterback, Sean O'Meyer?
He's really good. He's completing almost 70% of his passes. He has a stable of receivers to throw to. They're explosive when they get in the open field. So like you said, it doesn't get any easier. It's a steeper climb, but it's funny, and you got to tell yourself this a lot. To remind myself, I guess, and we talk about it as a team. We try not to seek comfort. What we're playing is elite competition, and I think that makes you better. It's steel sharpens steel type thing, and we're learning so much. In the last couple of weeks, we've learned huge things about us and what we have to do differently. But I played in or coached in a conference where the top teams were good, but some of the bottom teams were not. And I prefer this. This is every week you got to strap it up and go. And Springfield's, they're really good, obviously, but you don't become undefeated playing what they play against, by doing things wrong. So
Springfield doesn't run the ball at all. So how about utilizing the blitz in this game?
Well, I don't know about blitz, but just you have to understand what you're dealing with. It's a really good, accurate quarterback with a line that, they're built to try to protect him, and we got to get pressure on him. That's key. If we can do it without bringing people, that's better. Because once you start bringing people, that's less people to cover, and when their guys get the ball, you hold your breath. Number 7, the Brown kid. He's been a starter since he's a sophomore. His brother went to Minnesota. I don't know where he's going, but it's a big time school, So, and they have a stable. It's like he's not the only one, so you can't just key on him. They've got 3 or 4 other receivers. So, it's a daunting task, but one that we look forward to. So,
all right. And final question: your impressions on their defense? How different is it from last year?
Well, the thing that stands out right away, they had 2 really good defensive tackles. One was a 4-year starter, the other one a 3-year starter. Both those guys are playing, college football right now, and so they lost them. But the cupboard is definitely not bare. They have another kid that looks just like them, So they're not lacking for talent, and Coach Douglass he does a great job. He's got them believing that every time they walk out on the field they're going to win, so that's huge. We're going to go to work. We definitely last year we did not do very well on offense, but they were responsible for a lot of that. So they return a handful of guys on the defense, but once you start getting a tradition going and successful tradition, it's guys want to step up and be the next guy. So, but like I said, we're looking forward to it. It should be exciting.
All right, Coach. Well, that's all the questions I have for you today, but I want to wish you good luck on Friday, and we'll talk to you next week.
Thanks, Norm.
I am with Coach Maurice Douglass, who is the head coach for the past few years of the Springfield Wildcats. And Coach, your quarterback, Deshaun Smoot, has graduated. Bryce Schondelmeyer has taken over with 1,164 passing yards. Given his experience from Arcanum, how has he met your expectations so far?
Bryce has done above and beyond. I think that he exceeded what some people thought he would possibly be able to do. Coming from a smaller school, I think they were maybe D5 or D6. Even though he was really good over there, the competition level wasn't as high as it was, but he's exceeded the expectation of what we had here as a staff.
His top receivers, Bradley and Brown, how are they different from one another?
Anthony's more explosive, but Bradley is he's just slimy. He's a guy that knows how to get in and out of his breaks and things like that, and does a great job when he's contested with throws.
You only average 41 yards a game rushing. Is that by design, considering how potent the passing game has been, or is that a concern?
It's not a concern. It is something that we wanted to be in there. When you have a young offensive line, you just want to try to kind of do like the Patriots used to do with Tom Brady. His running games were never really effective, but his passing game, short passing game, was actually his running game, and that's what it's done for us. It's been our run game.
Defensively, what is the highlight of this year? Beating St. Louis to Smith, forcing 4 turnovers, or holding Wayne to 67 yards passing?
Holding Wayne to 67. Those are the guys right down the road, so they're the guys that we have to contend with on a pretty much a regular basis as far as just the rivalry and things like that. And so I would say those guys over this Met game.
All right. One of your leaders on defense is Javion Norman. Can you give us a synopsis of the year he's having?
Javion's having a great year. Against Wayne, he had probably one of his better games. He had 17 tackles that week, calls fumble, a couple sacks, just some really big plays. He's our leader. He's not big in stature, but he's big in heart. He's 5'10", 185 pounds, but he's a warrior, and I'll go to bat with him any day of the week.
Almost final question. I got a couple others as well. As for Fairmont, you shut them down last year, only allowing 58 yards. How easy is it to defend them since they have an inexperienced quarterback and a one-dimensional attack?
It's not hard. It's not easy to play against them because they have so many linemen, and what they do it well. They do a great job of cut blocking and cutting you off on the backside with the bear crawling into your knees, crabbing you into your knees, and they just do a great job of doing what they do. Dave's not going to change it. He may throw in a pass or two here or there, but the nucleus of their offense is the dive back, and if you can try to contain that kid, you're going to have a good chance.
One of their stars is Mr. Baker, which I'm sure you've seen him on film. What are your thoughts on him?
So we were just talking about him last night and just saying that he could be playing at one of the academies because of his ability to run the ball inside, and he's got enough speed because he runs track, so he's got enough long distance speed. He's just a tough, hard-nosed football player who I would love to have on my team, but unfortunately he's on the other team this week.
Okay, and the final question for you. Now we're halfway through the season. How's your team holding up injury-wise?
We had a couple injuries early in the season, but we'll be getting some kids back here. I think this week we'll get a couple kids back, but overall, as a whole, we're holding up pretty good against the injury bug.
All right, Coach. Well, thank you very much for taking the time to speak with me today, and good luck on Friday.
Thanks a lot, Norm. Appreciate it for having us on. Thank you very much.
All right.